Alright. So, as you may have noticed, the big difference here of the tier list.
Thank you.
I couldn't see either.
They could see, so I was like...
Shut up. Alright, fucking, you may have noticed the big addition to the tier list I've been talking about in my other mod videos. B+ is here.
B+.
It's like DDLC+, but just not as cool. But... basically, B+ is basically exactly what it sounds like. B+ is for mods that I think are better than B tier, but not good enough to really be fully considered A tier for me. So like, B+ is the one that I've decided to give it. So now you're probably saying, but Zero, B+, that's such a weird addition. Shouldn't you have plus and minuses for other ones? And to that I say, fuck you, this is my tier list. How dare you ask me questions?
There's only a B+, and you will have to live with that.
Yeah, for now there's only a B+. Maybe at some point in the future I make a C-, but
Well, you barely put shit in C.
You know it's bad when you have to make a C-. But
Oh, no.
but yeah. So before we get to our new mods, which are the ones right here at the bottom, before we get to adding these, let's talk about some mods that I've already moved to B+, shall we? So, for mods already added into, so I've kind of calculated, I've kind of taken some mods from B and A, and I've been kind of shifting them. So, let us see. Bam. It's not that many yet, but these are the ones that I consider to be B+. I think a majority of these were A tier mods. I think 3 of these were A tier mods. All of these were A tier. I think only one of these was a B tier mod, if I recall. Because I think Summer Hope was the only B tier mod on here. I think all of these were A tier mods, pushed down to B+.
Yeah.
So, let me break down why. Sari says no to suicide. Still a perfectly fine mod. I just personally just think giving it an A tier was a little too much. When at the end of the day, it was just a PSA. Like, there's nothing wrong with that exactly, but it's like, I feel like me sitting here being like, oh yeah, it was an A tier. Like, it's like, I think it's more of a B+. It's a nice PSA and everything, but at the end of the day, it is just kind of a PSA. I don't know.
It's just a nice little mod.
Yeah. It's like, there's not really much there really to it, I guess. So, I was like, so overall, I think B+ is still good for it. Summer Hope got from B to B+. I honestly just felt like it needed a bit more recognition than what I gave it. Than what I had originally. I do like Summer Hope, and I feel like Summer Hope got a lot of things right. Sadly, I think this mod is discontinued now. Because I have not heard...
it's dead.
Yeah, I've not heard, like, any updates about this mod whatsoever, so... Pretty sure Summer Hope is basically dead in the ground. But I give it a lot of props for being able to do things that some mods haven't been able to do, like giving an actual, like, somewhat explaining having Sayori and Monica getting into a relationship to where it actually makes sense. Having Yuri just go batshit crazy and actually having it make sense too. Like, it was a little creative. It definitely went all over the place, don't get me wrong. The mod went from just being a I wanna be with Natsuki and prevent the events from the base game to being what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, well, the game's like we're like outside of the game now or something.
This has turned into like a crazy ass soap opera, but it was an enjoyable madness, honestly. But yeah, so I felt it was at least B+. God Syndrome, I think I just moved it to B+ because there wasn't much to really be there. I felt like it was it had potential, but there wasn't a lot there to really for me to consider it fully A tier. So I felt B+ just felt the best. That sad face on Purist though. It will stay.
Is it bad that I don't remember?
It's not. We played it like a long time ago.
Okay.
But I remember it. Our time, again, it's something where if our time was a little longer, then maybe our time was just kind of a good basis for a story. But I guess since it was a demo, there wasn't much to really fully expect from it. So I thought B+ was better for it, in my opinion. It wasn't a long enough demo to really consider it A for me.
So sad.
And I think the same problem can be said about Cold as Summer. Like, it got to B+ because it was a better basis than R10, if anything. I felt like it actually had a lot more setup going on for it. But again, I don't think it was a long enough demo for me to say that it was A tier. That's basically the ones I already put on here. Are there even any demos in A tier? Oh yeah, rewind. I think that's the only demo. Yeah. That's the only demo in A tier is the rewind/replay demo. Most demos, they got pushed down. Oh, right. I guess I forgot to mention this too. I also moved one mod from S tier to A tier. I moved Club to A tier. This one was just kind of a short thing. I just kind of felt like it doesn't really, like, exemplify a S tier mod, since I've already, like, talked about how strict, how I've been, like, I said I was going to be a little bit more stricter when it comes to, like, an S tier mod. So, it just felt like it didn't really feel like S tier, so I was like, I think it's good as A tier, in my opinion. So, there you go. Like, gasp. Maybe if there's more shorts added to it at some point in the future, maybe. But, I mean, even then, it's more like something where it's like, it's just an A tier.
Yeah.
Zero put his own mod in A tier. These people were not in the tier, were not in the previous tier list streams, if you say that. Because we literally voted, chat voted for that. I didn't put it there.
Yeah.
That was a chat voting.
I feel like we gotta, like, reiterate that every time we do one of these streams.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Elvis was like, yeah, you fools. I was like, that was chat. We put a poll and we said, where do you guys think it should go? And then that's where chat did. So, yeah, I didn't put it there. Anyway. So, I think that's all the B+ mods that we added from the change. So I think it's time to add our new mods. There's only like 4. We really need to add here.
Yeah.
So I think it's time to discuss. Shall we? Which one should we start with? Should we just go down the line, I guess?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember which ones you put on there. Oh, wait, they're right there.
They're right there. I was gonna say. So just like, all right.
Let's go down the line.
I'm gonna go down the line. We'll go with Keeper of Reality first, I guess. So, Keeper of Reality was a fun little mod. Very, very creative mod. It took the whole idea of preventing the events of the base game and, like, really went to, like, this like, fantasy route with it, in my opinion. And the reason why I keep using the... Because I think someone asked this question, why I keep saying, like, the words fantasy when it comes to Keeper of Reality, when it's, like, but it is being known as, like, it's a game. It's, like, it's because it's, like... It's because, like, fucking... The main villain is like a demon.
Main villain is a demon. The place that like Monica's trapped in, it feels like another dimension.
There's like gods, like it was like being talked about. Like it feels super fantasy-esque. Like I said, it's taking the approach of preventing the base game and putting more of a fantasy-esque spin on it. So it's very more, like I said, it's like good ending, except the meta aspect is replaced with fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's honestly very interesting. I liked it. It's the only problems I think I have with Keeper of Reality is the grammar, obviously. The grammar is a little odd with the mod. I feel like it the grammar does can kind of ruin the experience, but it's not too bad to where you don't really know what's happening. You can still kind of get the gist, but the grammar can be kind of a you know, can be kind of a crutch. Another thing that I thought was slightly interesting is how many, like, CGs there were. This might seem like a weird complaint. But I guess my point is there were so many CGs for, like, just, like, every moment, in my opinion, that it kind of made CGs not feel as special when you get them. Because, like, the whole point, like, with base DDLC or even in some other mods, like, when you get a CG, you're like, oh, this is a very special moment. Because, you know, you don't really get CGs that often. But it felt like with Keeper of Reality, there was, like, constantly a CG somewhere.
Yeah.
So it was like...
home from school or something, and like, there's a CG.
Yeah, so it's like, so it started feeling less special every time you get it. Like, there's a CG of you walking with Natsuki and Yuri. It's like, did that really need a CG? Like... I feel like we could have just had Natsuki and Yuri sprites on screen the whole time. Like, they didn't really need a CG. And I understand there is the fact because it's like, well, the creator is an artist. And it's like, that's fair, obviously. But for me, I don't know, it just kind of made the CGs feel less impactful because they were everywhere. Like, I don't know. There's also that one CG. Oh, you want the sex CG? I'm not rating the mod lower because of the fucking...
That wasn't really like, that was just a very suggestive CG. It
was more of a suggestive CG, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't show nothing.
But like, yeah, that's like a moment, like, because there was a few moments where I felt like, yeah, that's worth a CG. Like, I don't think all of it was like terrible CG placement or anything, or like overused. It was just a few that I felt that I was like, did this really need one? Like, I'll give some examples real quick. Like, I already gave the example of them walking. I guess the principal's office one can work since they were like talking to her, so sure. There is the, I guess the what's the Yuri and Natsuki sitting down CG. I guess those were fine. There was the one CG of you just talking to the fucking, you talking to the white hair girl on the ceiling. I don't think we needed that as a CG.
Wasn't her name like Mari or something?
No, was that her name? Her name was something else.
I
Do not remember the white-haired girl's name. God damn it.
Connery.
Yeah, it's Connery. Yeah, yeah. It's like I feel like that didn't really need a CG. But I don't know. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's just more of a minor issue I had with it. Like I just felt like there was too many to the point where the CGs didn't really feel that special when you saw them because they were just constantly showing up. But yeah, overall, what I'd give Keeper of Reality, at least Act 1 so far, obviously, because this can be subject to change when the future acts come out. Overall, I think, let me look at like the mods I can compare it to that I have in these tiers. Okay, so there's that. It's definitely nowhere near C or even B. I'm honestly trapped between B+ and A.
Oh yeah, and then there was the whole like Sayori, it was like a walking corpse.
That was actually a pretty cool idea. Yeah, that was an interesting idea. I actually like that idea. Like that. Sayori's corpse was being like controlled by the game. I thought that was kind of clever. Or like the fact like that their eyes were like changing to show like their eyes would be like darker. That was pretty clever too. I'll give it A tier. Why not?
Yeah. Running out of room in A tier 0.
I know. I'll find a way to fix it. Maybe. I don't know. Might just have to make the canvas bigger.
Maybe.
Yeah. Throw that in there. Alright. So, next. Zone of Escapism. This was an interesting mod. This was the mod where it tackled the girls as they all had dreams. That was what it was. We're all following their dreams, which is a very interesting concept. Yeah, were you not? You were there for it. You don't remember it.
It's I feel like we played it a while ago, so
it was before Dimensions. It was the one where like each other. It was like the one where like Natsuki's dream was like in a manga style.
Oh yeah, no, I remember this one now.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was the one where Natsuki's dream was like in like a manga style. I think and they went to like a park or something.
Went to like an amusement park and then like it turned into a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now.
They all had like nightmares. This one was pretty good. I enjoyed the Sayori dream. Like I said, I think it was still the most solid one out of all of them. The Sayori dream was like the best. I think, like I said when I played it, as I played it, I felt like the quality was like the quality went down as the dreams progressed. Like the Sayori one was like the best one. The Natsuki one still pretty good. Wasn't better than the Sayori one, but pretty good. Yuri one was all right, I guess. Like, you know, and then the Monica one was like, eh.
Oh yeah, because like she was in like a judgment room.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. Monica's dream didn't really feel like a nightmare. Yeah, Monica's dream, I could see, because I could see where they were going with that. Like I said in the video, I could see where they were going with Monica's dream, but I just feel like it didn't land as well as the other ones did. Like, I don't know. It just definitely felt a little odd. But, yeah. So this is a really short mod. There wasn't much to really talk about. Like I said, I like the idea of it. I like the little epilogue at the end, too, where they all, like, hang out and talk about their dreams. Like, Monica, like, lies. And it's like, no, I had good sleep. I had a good sleep last night.
I didn't have a bad dream.
Like, thought hers was, I thought that was pretty funny. But, I guess I'd give this, like, I'm kind of, I'm thinking either B or B+. Also, let me clarify, B isn't like a bad tier. I don't put mods in B and it's like, these are terrible. It's like, obviously they're mods that I think are still good. I don't know, because I really did like the manga Natsuki though. Like the style of that. I might give it B+. I think it's enough for a B+ at least.
I was thinking B+.
Just because I feel like, because Sayori's was actually really cool, and Natsuki's dream was actually really cool, too. I really liked how it kept switching between manga panels and being, like, a regular dream. All the girls also felt in character, too, so that was also really good. So, I think it's B+. Because when I was looking at it compared to mods in B, I was like, because mods in B I have a lot of problems with, you know? It was like, it's B, but because it's like, it's still fun, but it's like, I have a good amount of issues with. So it's like B+, it's like, I have less issues with, you know? Alright, so, I think it's a B+. Dimensions. I think Dimensions was quite literally the reason B+ existed.
Yeah, I think so. It kept going up and down so frequently.
It was quite literally. I'm pretty sure the Dimensions was quite literally the reason of B+'s existence.
Because we kept the entire time we kept being like, it's like in the middle of A and B, it's in the middle of A and B, it's in the middle of A and B.
Yeah, because it kept doing a lot of things that like we enjoyed, and then there was things where we were like, eh.
Like, we never settled on one, so there was let's pick a tier in the middle of A and B.
Yeah, because it was like. The idea of Dimensions was very cool. I like the idea of being able to go to these different dimensions and shit. That was cool. However, it was like, there was just some problems, like, the deaths of the characters meant nothing at the end of the day. Like, it felt like characters would just die and would just be like, oh no, they're dead, and then the game expects you to, like, feel really bad when I'm just like, what? It's like, I barely even knew who that was. Like, Dr. Bug's death is like nothing.
All the deaths felt like jokes. I thought they were jokes at first, but apparently they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Yeah, the mod also tries... It's like the mod... You don't know what tone the mod's trying to go for. When the mod is being silly and hectic, it works extremely well. And it's like, yeah, I really like that. But when the mod tries to take itself seriously, I feel like is when it starts not really working.
Yeah. Because, like, the death... Because, like, I legitimately laughed at the deaths, because I thought they were jokes. I thought that was a joke. Like, I thought that was supposed to be funny.
Like, you wipe left, and then you see Dr. Bug dead on the floor.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be a funny thing, but apparently it's not. It's supposed to be an actual serious moment.
Yeah,
which, kind of failed doing
like,
that.
I don't know if you should. I don't know if you should wipe left to a death. Like it's like, oh my, oh yeah, and then there's the hooks. The hooks, me boyo. The hooks.
Oh yeah, the noose is coming down.
Yeah, the like nooses raining from the sky felt a little too like what.
That is hilarious. Oh my god.
Like it felt unintentionally funny. Like it definitely seemed something where I was supposed to take that seriously, but it just didn't work in my opinion.
Oh my lord.
The hooks, me boyo.
Oh.
You didn't die from the hook, SpongeBob. But yeah, I really like the sprite edits though. But again, that was the other thing. The sprites of the characters, the edits were good, but they were not something I'd be able to take seriously.
Yeah.
Like, because there's something with Vigilante, for example. It's something I talked about. Like, for example, in the cowboy world, Monica has a fucking, like, musket added to her sprite. And it's like, it's something where it's like, I can't take that seriously. It's something as to why in Vigilante, we don't give their sprites guns. we don't show guns on their sprites because we feel like it's gonna look silly. No matter how you do it, it's gonna look silly. Just because these sprites aren't made to be holding these things. So it's like, no matter what you do with it, it's gonna look weird. So it only really works if you're doing a scene where it's not supposed to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. So that's why, for example, like I said, that's why in Vigilante, we don't give their sprites guns. Because we're like, it's gonna look dumb. It's gonna... like, you're gonna look at it and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's gonna look jarring. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So, for like, that's what I'm saying. So, for light-hearted moments, it really works. And it's like, I feel like I was supposed to be afraid of the Deadeye Monica shooting somebody, but I was just like, oh no! She shot someone, like, you know?
Oh no!
Yeah. Like, I wasn't actually like, oh no! Oh no! I was more like, oh no!
Monica, what'd you do?
Yo, what'd you do? And then there was Mario MC and Yorishi. I can't take this seriously.
Oh yeah, there was the Mario world.
But again, like I said, if Dimensions was a mod that fully embraced its chaos and just didn't try to tell an actual serious story, I think it would have been amazing. If it just embraced the chaos that it is doing, then I'm like, yes. It would have been amazing. If it just embraced this hectic thing, like, yeah, we know the shit's crazy. We're not gonna try to make you feel much here.
That would be funny.
Because even had some funny writing in it too. I think there was actually some things I laughed at. However,
all the silly bits are amazing, and if the entire mod was like that, it would probably be like really good.
Not even all the silly bits though, because there wasn't another thing I didn't like about Dimension was that half of its humor was reference humor.
Oh really? Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it was like, if you got the reference, ho, and it was like, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get the reference, so I guess I don't get to laugh today. That's sad. Reminds me of in Persona 3 Portable when that certain character sprite held a gun and it looked really stupid. Yeah, it's like, you can't add a gun to a sprite because it's gonna look stupid. You're just like, what the fuck is this?
Usually because usually when you see the girls with their sprites holding guns, it's usually played up for laughs. It's usually because it's a joke.
Because you can't take, because it's because you know they weren't drawn with that intention of be holding those weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is kind of a sadder song while I'm doing a tier list, so...
It's okay. We can keep it playing.
I guess. I'm skipping this. I'm not playing this song. Okay. Meanwhile! The exact opposite. Alright. Anyway, so yeah. Dimensions gets that nice and powerful B+.
Yeah.
So... now we are in Captive Heart.
Captive Heart.
Ah, I actually really like this mod's logo.
It is very nice.
I like how the heart is bigger.
If the person who made this logo is watching, good job.
I don't think he is. Because I don't know if he'll ever watch.
I don't know if it was the mod dev or if it was someone else.
It was the mod dev who didn't. Okay. I guess he just didn't really. He thought like we hated his mod, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what to tell him. Anyway, so Captive Heart. This mod was actually recommended to me by Holly, the creator of Take Two and Interview Club. He actually recommended that I play this mod to me. He was like, "Sir, you should play Captive Heart. It's pretty good." And I was like, "Okay, Holly, I guess I'll play it." And oh god, what the heck was that?
I hiccuped. I wasn't expecting it at all.
Oh. So I was like, alright, Holly, I'll play it. And I was pleasantly surprised. In the beginning, there were some cracks of almost like, okay, this is kind of weird. But as time went on, it got a lot better. I don't know, it was weird. The things I liked. I liked like the way you could traverse around the house. Like I liked you could like click on little things. I thought that was kind of interesting. Thought that was like an interesting little mechanic of the mod. I liked the whole unraveling the story. You know, like the fact that you're getting little clues here and there and you're trying to figure out what's really going on. I always kind of like that when it comes to stories to some degree. When it's done right. Don't do it like FNAF. Don't make me have to go back and be like, remember this one scene? This one guy right there? You didn't remember that one word, Zero? Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, make it something to where you can just follow it just by paying attention. Not like you had to look at every single little tiny fucking detail. If you missed even one detail, you're on the entire wrong track, buddy.
Yeah.
Don't do that. So yeah, it's like I felt they did that pretty well. And again, I liked the whole kind of story behind it. It's a very controversial story because it's definitely something where it sparks a lot of discussion. I think that video, I still get comments to this day of seeing people like, I love this mod. This mod's cool. Then some people are like, man, get this mod out. This mod's stupid. So it's like, it's definitely a very controversial ending. But in my opinion, I felt like it worked well. I feel like it works kind of. It has a lot of parallel. I think I liked it because it has a lot of parallels to Monica's thing in base DDLC. You know, the people's opinions about Monica in base DDLC. The whole do you forgive her type thing. Like, look at the situation she was in. However, I don't think it can be used as a one-for-one metaphor because I feel like there's a lot of different aspects to both sides that aren't here, or factors that aren't here, a lot of like different factors. Because like one thing that'll probably give people to forgive Monica in base DDLC is the fact that when you become president, people that you get an epiphany, you know, like it's something you can't really control. So people have given Monica benefit of the doubt because of that. However, Captive Heart, she doesn't have that benefit of the doubt. Her benefit of the doubt turns into a different thing to where it becomes, the factor now becomes, well, her parents treated her poorly. And it's like, yeah, for some people that still carries over, but you definitely have to sit there and be like, well, that's not the same thing. Like, that's definitely not the same thing. So for me, it definitely did not feel like a one-by-one metaphor, but it definitely feels similar to the thing that Monica, it kind of goes through. It definitely feels slightly similar. Also, the other problem I have with it is that, like I said, since it isn't a one-for-one thing, it doesn't feel like a Monica-specific story. It feels like the story could be told with any popular character. Because I feel like some people kind of took these words, what I said, because I said this in the series of this too. But I feel like people took what I said and didn't really understand what I was trying to say. Because I think I said other girls in DDLC. But yeah, it wouldn't work with them, but it could work with any popular girl. Like, basically get a character and say, this is Sydney. Sydney is the popular girl in school. And you could do this exact same story.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't work with Yuri, Sayori, and Natsuki, yeah, because they're not really that popular in school. But if you just got a popular girl, you could do the exact same story. So I think that was my problem. That's like one of my problems with it, was that it didn't feel exclusive to the girl. It didn't feel exclusive to Monica. It didn't feel like a Monica exclusive story.
Yeah. And
that's not like to hamper down the story or anything. That's not to be like, oh, the story's shit because of that. It's like, that's not even
something. It's just something they didn't think about, because that's not. It's not a thing. Something that a lot of people think about when they write stories is that, well, this story makes sense for this character, or will this story just makes sense on its own, and you can use anybody as a substitute.
It's like, it felt like it could happen to just any character who was just popular. And I mean, and it's like, and I feel like it's slightly different because you could say, well, technically DDLC, that could happen to anybody. You could just replace Sayori with somebody who's just super nice. And it's like, that's fair, but it's because that's Sayori's attributes, though. That's a part of Sayori's personality. That's why it works with Sayori. This story doesn't rely on Monica's personality. This story only relies on Monica's social status.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the difference. If the story relied on the character's personality, then yes, I could say this story works really well for Monica. But this story only relies on the fact that Monica's is that one line in the base game where MC says, Monica's the popular one in the school. It's like, that's all it relies on. So to me, it feels like you could literally replace this with anybody as long as they're popular.
Yeah.
So I think overall I'd probably give Captive Heart like a B plus, maybe.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'm so lost. Wasn't that mod based on a game? It was based on a game, apparently. According to Libitina. I don't know how much I can confirm of that, because Libitina said that it was very much inspired by another game, which, again, kind of proved my point, if that is the case, because, yeah, that kind of shows it's not exactly... that kind of shows that, yeah, it doesn't exactly work specifically for Monica.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Would it be B+? I'm, like, stuck between B to B+.
I'd say B+. I think it was pretty good.
I like how it handled the ending. Again, because in my personal opinion, I liked the conversation it brought up. It's how far are you willing to forgive somebody? Because it was a difficult choice, in my opinion. And I feel like nobody's wrong with what they choose. Some people are like, I think Monica needs to go to prison. And it's like, okay, sure, that's what you think. I personally think that if you just... I picked the embrace option. I thought that was the right option. In my eyes, I'm like, that's the right option here. Because as they point out, what are you going to do from this?
Do you feel like the victim in that situation?
It's like, what do you gain from this? It's... Because it's something that... Because one thing I compare this situation to is random game to bring up, but... You guys remember The Last of Us 1? Remember the ending to The Last of Us 1?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you're basically killing a bunch of people because you think what's going to happen isn't exactly right. Like, the ending to Last of Us was a very controversial ending when it came out. A lot of people didn't agree. A lot of people agreed. It's like, my feelings to that is kind of similar to this. To where I'm like, what would I gain by putting Monica in jail? Like, what, am I protecting future people? I can protect future people by showing that I care about her and just using it in my own hands. Now, if Monica does something bad again, then yes, clearly she cannot be saved. But the fact that Monica is, like, showing sympathy and remorse, it's like, okay, then, I will attempt to rectify that. We will make amends for what you did. I mean, isn't that the whole point of sending someone to prison anyway? Is to try to fix them? So, why don't I just take my matters into my own hands and do that myself?
Yeah. If you can. If you feel like you can.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, Captive Heart is the Last of Us of DDLC. I'm not saying that. I am not saying that.
No, that's a very different story.
Yeah, that is. I am not saying that. If that was the case, then I would have given this like a very high tier. Well, I'm giving it B+, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying in terms of like the conflict at the end. It's a very believable-esque conflict. It's not an easy choice in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like the Captive Heart's final choice comes down to your morals. At the end of the day. So I think that's why I really enjoyed that choice. That was made by the mod. So yeah, I think it is a B+.
B+.
It's kind of funny. It's like all the mods that I think all the new ones. I think like 3 of them went to B+. The only one that didn't was Keeper of Reality.
Yeah. I'm liking this new B+, huh?
Yeah, really liking it, huh, Zero?
It's pretty useful.
I mean, honestly, yeah, because a lot of mods, I feel like I kind of force myself to be like, well, it's B or A, Zero, and it's like, I don't know.
That's probably why these mods are an A tier.
That probably is why a lot of these mods are an A tier.
Yeah,
I'm actually wondering if there's any I can probably change right now.
Because it's either A or B, and it's like two different levels of whatever, shit. Right?
Yeah, it's like, I wonder if there's any I
can
actually...
Is it good, or is it okay, mediocre? And it's
yeah.
like very not in between at all.
Well, not mediocre. Mediocre is like C tier, I thought.
Oh, I thought like B was like... I mean,
mediocre is a mean fucking word to use. That's not a good word. You don't want to be mediocre.
Okay. I always thought mediocre just meant like middle.
No, mediocre's like bad.
Like alright.
Mediocre's like bad, but not as bad. But it's still bad.
Oh, okay. I always thought mediocre meant like it's alright.
I'd always say Blue Skies is B+. I'd give Blue Skies the A. I feel like Sayori's route was good enough. MC wasn't super dumb like he was in Natsuki route. He had his dumb moments, but I feel like Sayori route had very little issues.
Whoa! The
I
canvas freaked out.
I feel like a majority of these are pretty good.
Okay.
I think. At least I think. I don't know. I could later think about this, but like I'm looking at all of them, but I don't know. All I'm saying is Real Allergic Club 2 should be B+, don't at me. I think it should just be B. It relies way too much on just being a parody of Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a fine mod, but overall it's like, I feel like it shouldn't have been called We Are Literature Club 2. I feel like that kind of gives people false hope into it being an actual sequel to We Are the Literature Club. Blue Skies was too long, especially MC's dumbass. It was, I don't know, see, but it didn't feel like Fruits long, though. It didn't feel like a slog. At times, it felt like it was going a little too slow, but like, I don't know. I felt like it wasn't too bad. Because in my opinion, I still feel like if people were to play Blue Skies, if people were to get into DDLC mods, and they were to sit there and be like, hey guys, I want to play a DDLC mod. And I think Blue Skies is like the perfect first DDLC mod for people to play, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like one of the first few like
good
mods for people to play if they want to get into DDLC mods.
It is a very good introduction to
It is a very good introduction
the
mod.
modding community.
Zero, you don't have to create a hypothetical. Blue Skies is my first DDLC mod, and it set my standards fucking high. I mean, that's the thing, though. I still wouldn't say Blue Skies would even set your standards too high, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, I guess Blue Skies does kind of go above and beyond when it comes to, like, GUI and stuff, but the writing of Blue Skies, as we've said, has some issues here and there that you still see in other mods, like, especially with the Natsuki route.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're kind of... I think everybody in A tier, I feel like, deserves the A tier. I was thinking a date with Monica, but I feel like a date with Monica was pretry fun, too, to where I feel like it deserves the A tier.
Yeah.
It set out what I wanted to do. Maybe I'd give Longer Roads the B+, just because we never fully played the other ones. The other routes.
Okay.
Maybe it's, like, a little too quick to be like, it's A tier, just because I cried at Monica route. Almost cried at Monica route. I guess, to be honest, because yeah, I didn't cry, I just had like tears and I was like, no. I still blame that on me acting, though. I swear to God, me acting is like the reason I cry like half the time. Besides DDL,
you trying to sound like you're crying, and then
yeah, you try to sound like you're crying, so then your brain makes you actually start crying. I think the only thing I can say that I can't defend myself from that is with DDLC Plus, because yeah, I wasn't voice acting when that happened. So
that was actual emotional.
Yeah, well, I'll say I wasn't voice acting when that happened. That was just me talking. But yeah, it's like, with all these other ones, I have to sound like I'm crying, so then it's like, oh, fuck. Because, like, that's why when you ask, like, I think it's like with acting things, they'll be like, oh, how do you get yourself to cry? They say, just pretend to cry.
Yeah, literally, if they pretend they're doing it, they'll start doing it. And they're like, great, now I can keep pretending to do it. And then
yeah, they'll be like, just tell your brain, hey, start crying, and then like just start pretending to cry, and then you will eventually start crying.
It's definitely happened to me before. I couldn't tell you like an example, but I've definitely like done that before, where like I've like pretended I was crying, and then I actually was, and then I started actually crying.
Bug, whoa, that's my mod over there. Yeah, it sure is, mister. Oh shit, we have to actually start moving. Oh, fuck, there's a giant space there.
Yeah, you gotta fix it. I thought you were just gonna put like, you're just gonna like put the last mod in the space there.
Oh, that would make sense. Thank you. Back.
Were you really planning on moving them all over?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Thank you. You saved me.
Just put that there, yeah.
Again, I could totally go to like tierlist.com and make something like that, but this is what we do now.
Control plus. I don't know if that'll fix it.
There you go. No, it's alright. They already see it. There we go.
There you go.
Oh, I forgot to put the title of it. No! Okay, it's alright. We got this. You guys about to see it. You guys about to see it change. You guys about to see it change those stream watches. We forgot to put the little title. There you go. So yeah. I guess this is the updated tier list. For now. Again, probably next time we'll update this will probably be when I play enough mods to update it. So it's probably like usually like what? After 4? 4 and more is usually when we update these. But yeah, MC tier list 1. I've honestly thought about doing other tier lists when it comes to DDLC, but some of them just feel like I don't know how to really do them. I can't really do an MC tier list because a lot of MCs just kind of feel very just samey, so I don't really think that's possible. So yeah, this is the tier list. So I hope you all enjoyed watching on YouTube, that is. This has been Zero. Peace.